Okay, everybody, I think we're going to go ahead and start now. I'm still about a minute early, I think. But just making sure everything's going. Hey, everybody. And yeah, I think everything's streaming right. Hopefully my audio is better this time. If you can't hear me good, tell me, because I played around with it and it should be doing a lot better this time. So we'll go ahead and start. This update has kind of two purposes. One is to talk about the horizontal stabilizer, the elevator that I was trying to develop and ran into some problems with, but I got it done. This is the finished elevator. It's 30 inches by 10, so 300 square inches. It weighs, the right one weighs 8.4 ounces and the other one, the left one weighs 8.3 ounces. It's still pretty damn strong. This is the 0.75 ounce glass cloth with water-based polyurethane and then latex paint that was thin 40% with Windex. So I took regular store-bought indoor flat paint that I mixed to this color green, and I then thinned it with 40% Windex. And a buddy of mine who's a master builder, John Morgan, said that's how he plays around with his. And I tell you, it sprayed perfect. Who would have ever thought putting Windex and latex paint would make it spray and flow so well? But it turned out really, really, really cool. This will still be sealed with a clear, probably a polyurethane. I'm not sure what I'm going to spray on it, but if you leave it flat, it'll get all kind of hanger rash. Just so you understand, this is a base coat of a camouflage, and basically I'm going to take a darker green and just do a whole bunch of almost like a maze. If you remember the, I can't remember the name of the German airplane, that's a pusher and a puller, but they had some really cool camouflage paint schemes on that, where they had a lighter color as the base and a dark color as the top. So that's what I'm going to do on camouflage in this. So what I want to get into now, and I'm going to move some things around tonight so you can kind of see it better. So I've got my camera 2 set up here. Let me see if this thing's working. And what I'm going to do is set up my camera 2 here and make sure that it's doing what I want it to do. And I'll switch to it. And just like Hollywood. So if you look on this camera right here, you're going to see that I got my door on the tracks, and it works really slick. Okay, so let me switch back to the other camera now. I'm really, really thrilled with how that turned out. So I'm going to take the door off. So you can basically see I 3D printed some carriers here and made this so that it rides on the track. And I was going to take a piece of track off here. The track actually was a real major pain. You know, with family, the holidays, and getting together with friends and everything, I have not had much time to spend on my airplane, which it always comes third. But the track here, and I want to show it to you up close. So this is the track, and if you look at the carrier here, the carrier rides in the track like that, okay, and it also pivots because the door has to change all the geometry, okay. Hopefully that's coming through okay. Now the problem the track was a pain is, how do you mount this to styrofoam? Okay, so I printed these little I don't know what you would call these, but basically these get Gorilla Glued into the styrofoam, and I tap these with a 440, and that's what the screw goes into to hold it to the foam. Okay, so this is an anchor, I guess. It's almost like the kind of anchor you put in concrete that you then screw into, but those expand, so it's not really the same. But this is just a 3D printed ABS anchor that I tapped with a 440 tap to accept the track, and it worked out really good. Now this right here is the prototype. Okay, this is a prototype track that the actual, what I call a shuttle, will run in, and that's going to lay in here. Hang on, let me get the other camera back, because actually I should use that other camera to show you this. So basically, you know, it's really weird doing this with such a big delay on it, but oh well. Here we go. So this is the track that will be mounted, and there'll be an Acme screw, a jack screw that runs along here, and it will run a shuttle, what I call a shuttle, up and down this track, and there'll be two arms that are connected to the door. This is a 3D printed piece I designed the other night, which is going to actually have an adapter that will catch the Acme screw on one side, this electric motor on the other side, but there's a big disc in here that has two thrust washers, so that the you know, I don't have any thrust put on the shaft of the motor. It'll all be riding within this mechanism, and this mechanism here bolts the end of this, and that way my jack screw all lays inside this groove below the door height. And hang on a minute, I took off part of my track, so I'm not sure if I can get my door back in there completely right, but so I put my door back in here. So riding along in this groove right here will be what I'm calling my shuttle, with about a 6-inch arm, and it will connect right here to two pivots, and that will push this all the way back to here, and it will draw all the way to here. If you notice, I have 11 inches between here and here, and the arm's only going to be 6 inches, so the shuttle stops short of the end of the track, if that makes sense. And so I'm really excited where it's at. Hang on a minute, let me switch back to the other camera. Sorry guys, if I had somebody in here running my mixer board like a TV studio, I might be able to make this a little bit more like Hollywood. But a couple of things I want to explain. I've gotten a lot of emails, of course, and of course I try to answer them all no matter how long it takes each night. But one of the things about this project is I'm taking on all the hard stuff first. Okay, the landing gear was something that I was really scared of, so I tackled it first. The door is one of those big things I had to tackle. The elevators, I had to make sure those would work with the way that the horizontal stabilizer is going to work. So while it seems like it's taking me a lot of time right now on this aircraft, when I get to the engine nacelles and I get to the wings, keep in mind, I've already designed the flap system, I've already designed the leading edge system, I've already designed the spoiler system. So once I get through this door and the horizontal stabilizers with their actuators, the rest of this is going to be easy peasy. I mean, it is just going to be awesome sauce. I did get a really big complex email saying that I'm almost crazy for doing this type of a design on the door because of, you know, the lead screw must weigh a lot and I'm putting it in the ass end of the airplane. The track must weigh a lot, and why didn't I just make the door open inward? Well, I'll explain why. When I did the geometry on the door swinging in, hang on a minute, let me roll. Oh, another cool thing is, if you ever go to Lowe's or Menards, you can find those little TriCaster things that you can put the legs of tables in. And I'm not sure if you can see the wheels down here, but all the tables that I work on my airplanes, I put wheels on so I can just roll everything around. So what I'm going to do is roll this up a little bit closer to the camera here. So imagine that I've got a door here and it's got to swing in. So if you take the radius of how far it's got to swing in here, I just didn't like how much it was going into the aircraft. Plus, I need to have a way to drop drogue chutes that then pull out extraction chutes that then pull out the cargo, and then the big canopy's open. The greatest thing about this door system is when this door system's out of the way, I can have my pods mounted right in the fuselage that when I drop my drogue chutes out that pull the extraction chute out, it's just gravity dropped right out. If I have this door swing in, I have to have this mounted on the side, and I have to have a spring that launches it, gravity grabs it, and then the slipstream grabs it. Another thing about having the door move inward is I was going to need two very large either air cylinders or servos mounted in here to open that big door like that. With this door moving, all that forces are put on the tracks. They're not put on the hinge or on the actuators. So when I started weighing my air actuators and weighing the servos and weighing everything, this system is actually the same weight. Am I putting a little bit more aft of CG with this design? Sure I am. But the wing wasn't designed on this airplane with where it made it to the fuselage yet. All I've got to do is move my wing back 1 3/4 inches on the fuselage, and whatever weight I had moved off of my first CG is compensated for. So keep in mind, if you start to build a tail-heavy airplane and it's your own design, just move the wing back. It's really just that easy. So that's the reason I went with this door design. So what I'm hoping to do is I've got some time tonight to work on the door. I've got some time tomorrow night, I think after about this time, 8 or 8:30, to work on the jack screw actuator system here. And then maybe by this weekend you can see the door being motorized and see how well it's going to work. I gotta admit, I have no idea what's going to happen to the slipstream when this door moves back. My guess is virtually nothing, because it's kind of staying with the shape of the fuselage, and it's not like I'm dumping anything into the airstream. So when the door is all the way back here, it's pretty much following the same contour of the fuselage here. Of course, when the door's shut, it's pretty much staying the same contour. So I don't think the door opening and closing is going to affect things that much. Yeah, you know, actually the maiden will probably be at CEF. Now keep in mind, once CEF starts, technically you can't test fly planes at CEF. I've been lucky because the contest directors there actually suspended CEF one time for me to test the MSL2. But CEF is normally a Saturday to a Saturday, and I'm going to go down on Thursday or Friday before CEF, so hopefully I can test fly this before CEF starts. Am I going to have plenty of time to test fly this before CEF in the spring? Probably. But there's so much room at CEF, and the rest of my Brainiac geek friends are there to help me kind of look over the airplane and make sure everything's really right. So they'll probably be test flown at CEF. I did have a couple of things I wanted to cover from some emails I got. One of the things I want to try to explain, I got a really neat email from a kid who's graduating high school this year and actually going to be an electrical engineer, going to go to Purdue. It's all kind of cool, but he's really into aviation. And you know, he's a great writer, by the way. But his email kind of asked, you know, what sparks some of the ideas to do this airplane? Or what sparked some of the ideas I put into the MSL2, you know, which weighs 58 pounds, basically, 57 and 11 ounces or something. So I think the only way I could explain it is that some of us are given a gift that when we look at a V8 engine, we can see inside the engine and see the pistons, connecting rods, the timing chain. We can see all of that stuff. But that's only a little ingredient to it. The rest of the ingredient is that every time I take on a challenge, really awesome people show up. And I've never taken on the MSL1, the MSL2, any of my projects that when I start to share the information, really cool people come and start following, and they give me all kinds of input and thoughts and ideas. In some ways, they're kind of testing my ideas or my argument. So I'll give you an example, like this rear door. I had a lot of people say, that's crazy, you should have it swinging in. I have to think about that. What if they're right? What if I'm totally wrong? So I took the time to start measuring everything. I took the time to start figuring it all out. And it's kind of like a self-test for myself when people criticize or question or ask what I'm doing. Some people think that I should get offended by that. I don't get offended at all. The things that offend me, though, and you know this, is speculation. I'm going to get a t-shirt that says, if you speculate, you could die. Okay? Or every time you speculate, when you're trying to help somebody that doesn't know, kittens die everywhere. So as you get to know me and look into my head, you're going to start to understand I only want facts. Now, I don't mind when somebody says, I don't know if that's going to work, Damon, prove it to me. I love that. But when somebody says, oh, you need to be using latex paint with this, this, and this in it, and I'm like, well, why would you do that? I don't know, it just sounds good to me. Well, when they post that to the world, somebody who doesn't know any better might go off and do that and realize, hey, I'm wasting my time. So, and I'm not going to go off on that. You've seen me rant in my other videos. I hate speculation. I hate it, especially when people are trying to be taught and learn. Another email I got that was kind of funny is, evidently some of you come to my Facebook Lives. Now, if you're watching this and, you know, it's pre-recorded earlier, you can't ask questions. But if you're on here with Facebook Live and you've got a question, even if you think it's silly, ask it. If anybody says you're stupid, I'll tell them they're stupid. There are no dumb questions. You're only dumb, in my opinion, if you don't ask a question. Okay, well, I shouldn't say it like that. It's not that you're dumb. You should just ask questions. So if anybody's ever watching any of these and it's live and you want to ask a question, please. That's one reason I'm doing it live, is if you've got any questions. So, but that's my update tonight. Oh, one last thing. Keep in mind, there's like a 15-second delay. So if you ask me a question and it's like a minute later I start to answer it, it's not because I'm slow. It's because I've got software that actually is running all this video through a server. That server is then making sure that it's HD quality and all that, and then connects it to Facebook. So it's actually software that is linking to Facebook so that Facebook gets the proper video input so you can see this. But that's pretty much it for everything tonight. I'm just trying to think when I do these videos, I've answered all the questions I want to answer. I should have my little notebook out. But thanks for watching the video, everybody. And if you got any questions, please ask them during the live Facebooks. If not, of course, send me the emails, send me the private messages, and we'll have a lot of fun here. So thanks for watching, everybody. That's pretty much my update tonight. Like I said, I want to finish the door. I need to finish the horizontal stabilizers, and then hopefully sometime around Christmas I'm going to actually start on the wing center section, which includes nacelle 1 and 2, and nacelle 1 and 2 has engines 1 and 2, 3 and 4, because it's a pusher-puller. So have a fabulous night, everybody, and if you got any questions, send me an email. Thanks a lot, everybody, and have a great night. Take care. Bye.